Welcome to part 3 of this special series, How to Taste Wine in 3 Days, the Sicily-Etna Gita Scolastica Day 3. Join Stevie and her team of Vinitaly International Academy ambassadors as they explore some of the best wineries southern Italy has to offer. The Etna wineries they are exploring today will be PassoPisciaro Winery, Palmento Costanzo, Azienda Agricola Sciara, and the Tenuta Santo Spirito winery. The team round up the end of these 3 days by stopping at Ristorante San Giorgio e il Drago in Rendazzo for a special tasting. Listen in as Mark Millen, Italian wine ambassador and Italian wine podcast host, narrates, giving his best impressions of their journey.
We've tasted a lot of wines over these days, and we've also moved around the Etna zones. We've come from the east and we've been moving around to the north. And we're really beginning to get a feel of the differences in terroir. And coming to PassoPisciaro was very important because, again, this is one of the pioneering wineries of Etna. Vincenzo was able to explain to us the history of PassoPisciaro, which is actually quite a recent history. We're really going back just 20 years.
Poi attraverso una pendenza del suolo il mosto d'uva andava verso il basso. Da una stanza ad un livello più alto nella quale venivano pigiate le uve, poi l'uva scorrendo verso il basso andava verso dei canali. Qui abbiamo delle vasche in cemento e delle grandi botti di rovere. Il rovere che viene utilizzato è per lo più rovere austriaco e sloveno, sono due legni neutrali, quindi non vi è un trasferimento di sentori di questa tipologia di legno nel nostro vino.
So we tasted the Passo Rosso. Now that was really interesting because that was a blend of Nerello Mascalese from the different contrade. And Vincenzo, explained to it, he said, this wine is an orchestra of flavors. There are notes coming from all the different contrade, whereas the individual contrade wines really are like a single instrument that will have its own tone, its own flavors, its own style and personality.
From PassoPisciaro, we visited another important wine property in the same northern area of Etna. The Palmento Costanzo was begun by Valeria and her husband, Signor Costanzo, and it has been the most remarkable transformation of an ancient abandoned vineyard on the north side of Etna in the Contrada of Santo Spirito, as well as the transformation of an ancient abandoned Palmento, a large one, into the most modern winery to produce a range of Etna wines that continue to respect the tradition of Etna and yet which are produced in a modern style that is very impressive. The vineyards themselves on the dry stone terraces leading up the mountain have been restored, respecting the tradition, the plantation in Albarello Etneo, in the quincunx formation, and indeed many of the vines are over 100 years old. We're beginning to get an understanding of this concept of contrada wines from the different parts of Etna that reflect a cru terroir, that reflect their area from which they are made. At Palmento Costanzo, they're taking this even further, producing not just contrada wines, but wines vinified from particular parcels within the contrada to really give a reflection of terroir, of place, of the particularities of how small changes in soil can be reflected in the wines themselves. We went from this very impressive large operation to a tiny boutique winery, Azienda Agricola Sciara, which has been created with extreme passion and enthusiasm by Stevie Kim, who greeted us warmly when we arrived. He came to Etna because he wanted to make wine. He'd been working as a winemaker in France, looking for somewhere to make wines in a style that he wanted. And he found this on Etna, where he was able to find old vines, high altitude with cool temperatures, to make a style of natural wines that most interest him. A winery on a completely different scale than we had previously visited. Tiny, handcrafted wines. At most 12,000 bottles can be produced in a good year, but wines made with real personality, passion, enthusiasm, and love. And Steph was eager to show us his highest vineyard, a small vineyard situated at 1,200 meters up the slopes of Etna. We came up and up and up to finally reach Steph's vineyard, and we made our way into the vineyard, and Steph then uncorked a couple of bottles. We had brought our glasses with us. Tenuta Santo Spirito, a vineyard planted again with these ancient vines well over 100 years old, in many cases planted before phylloxera came to Sicily. It was another opportunity to learn about the restoration of ancient vines on Etna, one of the oldest wine-producing areas in the world. Wines with elegance and finesse and power. So we then went down to Rendazzo to enjoy another wine tasting and a simple dinner amongst wine producers, amongst friends, people we had met along the way.
Two different white wines. First, we start with Pseudo-Macchari wines. We are close to Noto. Actually, it's the southern part of Europe, not only of Italy, of Europe. So over there we have 60 hectares that the owner bought in the year 2000. As I said, he used to go sailing around Sicily and he fell in love with this Baroque area.
It was a wonderful conclusion to 3 days of learning, tasting, feeling what Etna is, feeling this volcano, smelling the volcano, touching the volcanic soil, and again seeing these ancient old vines. A real opportunity to learn, to enjoy, and to discover.
We've shared so much together. We really feel like a family, and that's all because of you.
Don't cry,
Thank you for listening to this final installment of this 3-part special series, How to Taste Wine in 3 Days, the Sicily-Etna Gita Scolastica. We hope you enjoyed adventuring to some of the most exciting wineries Etna has to offer. Remember to like and subscribe to our channel, and if you hit the bell icon, you will get notified when we add new videos. You can also find more wine content by visiting Italian Wine Podcast on SoundCloud or wherever you get your pods. Chin chin!